It's my song! Let's sing it! It's gonna be fucking awesome! Come on! It's gonna be fucking awesome! You know the words! It's gonna be fucking awesome! That's it! Sing! It's gonna be fucking awesome! Yeah!
Howdy, 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 everybody. It's me, Blaze Snider, the coolest geek alive. How you doing? I'm doing great. Just going through a lot.
It's my favorite part!
Steadily better and better. But I tell you what, man, doing this show every Wednesday has gotten really difficult lately. I pledged to not just be another talking head on platforms, just talking about the latest thing to be talked about. And I'm just like, if I don't have a passion to really talk about something, I'm not going to talk about it for no, just for nothing, for clicks or something. I'm not just going to sit and beat a dead horse. I mean, I think there are very reasonable critiques to be made about so many different things going on right now. I mean, I wasn't interested in Agatha all along. I put on the finale just to see, what it built to and whatnot. And oh my God, to say that I was just sort of like not remotely interested in what they were doing is just an understatement and a half. But apathy for the things that are being made, what's that? There's been a huge boom in YouTube and podcasts and all these things because of people being able to express the passions of the fandoms on behalf of the fandoms on YouTube. And then, the people get to go, yes, thank you. Somebody's saying what I'm thinking, and that's been a big thing. But now we're really getting into what I feel is a malaise. Who gives a shit? Like I'm tired of being mad about it, I think is the way people are feeling. Sorry if you heard that. I'm trying to fix my mic. But I really do think people are tired of being mad about it. I'm tired of being mad about it. When I started doing my music show, All Your Favorite Bands Suck, which I do every Monday, if you're a music fan and you haven't gotten into the show yet, all different types of genres and shit, and there's like almost 50 bands now, so go check it out. Next week I'm doing All American Rejects. Past week was fun. Week after that's going to be Exhibit, rap, metal, punk, humor, great stuff. Anyway, the reality is we need new things to love. I was loving being able to gush about all these bands I love, and then I started doing the coolest picks and coolest classics on Saturdays because I just so much rather be talking about things that I like most of the time. At least half the time I want to be talking about things that I like and engaging in that. And I actually have a long list of like if you want to take a pen down and be like, these are all the things that Jesse recommends. Just like this is like 2 years worth of episodes that I'm sitting on. I have a thing for the Coolest Picks main show. The only reason why I haven't done these episodes yet is because for the most part, I want to do not research, but like I want to refresh myself on some of these shows and films before I come talk about it again, because in some cases I haven't watched them in a little while. But, I'm going to do a Coolest Pick main show celebrating Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and, the stuff that Gilligan's done in that, world. I want to do a show celebrating In Living Color and everyone involved in the show, and all the different great things that they've all gone to do, all the great comedic actors from In Living Color and what they've gone on to do. Big In Living Color fan. I really want to do a great deep dive into Trey Parker and Matt Stone and South Park, but more. Just all the little things that they've worked on that are interesting and worth your time. I want to do a deep dive into the recent Planet of the Apes trilogy, not the new. I haven't seen the new one that came out yet. I can't vouch for that one, but I really liked the trilogy they made, and And I never actually watched the originals. I'm going to watch the originals just to see if I recommend them, if I think they hold up or whatever as well. But I thought that trilogy of movies was really great and worth people's time. It starts with the first movie with James Franco in it. It's really good. I did the Disney afternoon, but I want to do a deep dive into Disney's gargoyles in particular and just talk about Disney's gargoyles. Today, we're talking about Mythic Legions because when I looked at the list that I had, because I was like, let me do something. But Mythically, it's the perfect time because this weekend is their 10th anniversary of Mythic Legions, and it's their Legions Con. I went last year to the Legions Con with my son, Cassidy West, and we had such a great time. I'm going to talk about just all this stuff today, and I'm so excited actually to talk about Mythic Legions. So when I went to this list and I saw Mythic Legions, I went, yes, because like everything else that I've described so far, it's like, hours of me watching a couple different things and catching up on some things before I'm ready to do the show. And I just haven't been able to kind of get settled and like start any of these things. Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts that spark joy, wonder, delight, and that it's exactly what I wanted feeling. They scour the globe for original, handmade, absolutely remarkable things. Somehow, they know exactly the perfect gift for every single person you know. Honestly, my favorite thing to do every year is go down to DCon, Designer Con, where they invite all of these artists who make all of these handcrafted items and sell them at the show. And it's just, I leave with so much stuff. I love when real love and craftsmanship has gone into the items that I'm buying. And when I went on to the Uncommon Goods website, I just felt like, oh man, it's like going to DCon and just like, and actually, I think a couple of the vendors that I saw on the website were people who I've seen vending at DCon. So it's so cool to be able to connect to these craftsmen from all over the world through this one website. Whether it's custom sunglasses or cute little ways to eat hot chocolate. They had hot chocolate on sticks in there. They've got something that my girls got me in the past, these flavored toothpicks. All sorts of really cool items that are personal and can be personalized. Lots of stuff that can be personalized. It's really just like a craftsperson's dream place to go for other craftspeople selling their wares online. And for me, just like honestly, this is the type of marketplace that I like to be in. I don't like to buy from the corporations. I like to buy from, mom and pop shops. And this is Mom and Pop Shop Central. So it's really just a cool place to be going to. When you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. Many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches, so shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. Another thing that I try to look for. They have the most meaningful, out-of-the-ordinary gifts anywhere, and they really do. They even have gifts you can personalize, as I was saying earlier. From holiday host and hostess gifts to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone. Not the same old selection you could find just anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give back $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date already. So, to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/CGA. That's uncommongoods.com/CGA, coolest geek alive, for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods. We're all out of the ordinary. Recommendations, all of these things, I recommend them, but I'm going to talk about them at length in the future. The Wire, Season 5. Not Season 5. The Wire, the 5 seasons. There's 5 seasons of The Wire. It's incredible. It's the greatest television series ever made. How about Deadwood, the 3 seasons and the film finale? I actually still haven't seen the film finale because I've been waiting to watch all 3 seasons and then watch the movie. I'm a huge fan of Deadwood. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. So I'm really excited about that and then to do a show on it. Just haven't been able to. There's a great show called The Shield, 6 seasons. Fucking amazing. Michael Chiklis stars. Awesome one. The Tick, I want to talk about the animated series. I want to talk about the 2 shows and the comics. Love The Tick. I want to talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. Big fan of that show. I want to talk about Robert Rodriguez and Desperado and El Mariachi, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, and in general, how he came up in the world and some of the coolness that is his career. And I really like Robert Rodriguez. I want to talk about Tarantino films. I want to talk about Christopher Nolan films. I want to talk about Guillermo del Toro films. I want to talk about Lord of the Rings trilogy. I want to talk about Twin Peaks. The remake when they came back for the season. I'm a huge Twin Peaks fan. Really, I should have done. I should probably do Twin Peaks kind of soon because it's still relatively fresh in my mind. Maybe I will do Twin Peaks pretty soon because Twin Peaks is a fun one. Ninja Turtles, toys, animated original series, and films. Really want to talk about Ninja Turtle fandom. Want to talk about Deadpool, the comics, and Joe Kelly, and he's the writer who really is responsible for why Deadpool's such a popular thing. And the films. I want to do a Hulk celebration. Celebrating my favorite comics and favorite media with the Hulk. There's all sorts of stuff. Lobo celebration, favorite comics and the character, and talk about him. Even though there's not really a lot of episode for a Lobo celebration, to be perfectly honest. Now that I'm looking at this list that I made, but look at all this shit I have to talk about. Dick Grayson celebration, Preacher comic celebration, Wally West celebration, Black Panther celebration, Savage Dragon celebration, Animal Man celebration, The Thing and the Fantastic Four celebration, Luna Brothers celebration. They've wrote a whole bunch of great comic books. There's a few that I like. I called Girls, The Sword, Ultra. Really love those books. They're great. Jeff Johns celebration, Grant Morrison celebration, Warren Ellis celebration. These are all very famous comic book writers. Chuck Dixon celebration, Brian Bolin, he's a comic book artist celebration, Dale Keown, another artist, Jeff Darrow, Brian Michael Bendis celebration, writer, JMS writer, J. Michael Straczynski, he also created the Babylon 5 series, Alan Moore celebration, writer, Frank Miller celebration, writer and artist, X-Men celebration, Care Bears celebration, I love the Care Bears, Power Rangers, rest in peace, Jason David Frank. I want to celebrate the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers through my buddy Jason David Frank, who passed away. I was friends with Jason. He and I, it all makes me really sad because he and I, really hit it off and, would only talk on occasion, but would just really liked each other, and he was always trying to get me out to Dallas. He wanted me to jump out of. He would jump out of airplanes, and I was scared of jumping out of an airplane. He was trying to get me to come out there to jump with them, and I totally wanted to go out there because he taught MMA. There was a bunch of things that I wanted to go out there and do, but I was kind of afraid. I was afraid of the friendship. Motherfucker was tough and cool, and I'm a tough guy, but the jumping out of the airplane thing, now I'm waiting for my kids, but I'm gonna do it. I just want to get over it and resign myself to it. But at the time, and then part of me getting over it too was Jason dying. Really, really, really broke my heart. Don't like talking about it because it makes me sad. I missed my chance to some really cool but scary things with somebody that I really liked and connected with. And somebody who made me feel cool and good, and perhaps go in there and jump out of a plane. It makes me so sad that I blew it. Lesson learned. Rest in peace, Jason David Frank. He was a really good dude, and I want to do a show about him. Sorry for crying. Sorry. My big baby. About my friends who died. So I want to do a big show about wrestling. I know I did that show about where I was just trashing Vince McMahon, but I'd love to do a show talking about all the things I love about wrestling, in particular the Royal Rumbles. I want to do the Royal Rumbles and wrestling in general. I'm very interested in it as a career, as a job. I seriously thought about pursuing a career in wrestling for a minute. There's a lot. I'm a gymnast. I was a coach for a while. I could do a lot of things like acrobatic type things, and I had a lot of friends actually who were amateur wrestlers, and they used to teach me wrestling moves, and we would do them for fun. And I like to talk, and I like comedy and music, and I don't know. There's a lot of aspects of wrestling that are part and parcel with all the stuff that I was interested in doing, and I loved how much people really seem to love wrestling. There's a lot of people who loved it, and lots of really good friends of mine loved it. And I had a period of time where I was a big fan as a kid, but that's fine. It's like I giving kids something to look up to and something to believe in and think of. Like, it really seemed like a kind of magical pursuit. And so I really have studied the behind the scenes of wrestling a lot and super interested in that. I want to talk about that and the Royal Rumbles, which are my favorite event. I've always wanted to work on a Royal Rumble as a writer. It's really a dream of mine. I'm hoping one day I can meet the right people or whatever and get into the writer's room for a Royal Rumble and be a part of making one of those events really fucking great, because that's my favorite event. And yeah, just to wrap up this this list here, because like this is just cool. Like, again, like go fucking get ahead of me, man. And like, I recommend any of these writers and any of these artists and any of these people. These are the great creative people and creative works that I have been able to find. And when one day I went, oh, like, what would I just like, what could I get on the mic and talk for an hour easy about how much I love it? This was the list. And then to finish it off, Steven Seagal movies. Plenty to say about Steven Seagal, and there's a lot of Steven Seagal movies to enjoy. The work of Mel Gibson. I fucking love Mel Gibson. Work of Paul Newman and Eddie Izzard. Comedy. He is fucking brilliant, and I think he is a comedian that, like, geeks in particular really drawn to, because he's very educated. A lot of his stand-up comes from comedy and things like that. And I'll just do one more good deed for you guys of like my coolest picks for Saturday and my coolest classics for Saturday. The list, and I mean, there's a ton more that I haven't necessarily wrote down or whatever, because I mean these are easy. I could kind of do this all day long. But coming up, did I do Tulsa King? I did Tulsa King this past weekend, right? Girls 5 Eva. I think that show's hysterical. I really like it. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's very clever. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, first one. They cloned Tyrone. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the only 2 seasons that they made. Fucking great show. Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell. Edge of Tomorrow with Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise. District 9, Neil Blomkamp's awesome movie. Hateful Eight. And My Name is Dolomite. And Moon. And then classics for Saturday are, we got Galaxy Quest will be coming up. This is Spinal Tap, The Original Warriors, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Braveheart, Pan's Labyrinth, The Sting, Playmakers, short-lived TV series. There was only 1 season. It was amazing. The Shield TV series, which I guess I'm probably gonna do the longer form thing with The Shield, because there's 6 seasons. Like, so I'll probably do a whole hour like talking about that. I mean, yeah, talking about that show. Titan AE. Great movie, animated movie. War of the Worlds, Hudson Hawk, and yeah, that's it. But like, that's all coming up. So I just want you to see, like, if you love geek culture, if you are passionate about celebrating the arts, great artists, great TV, great films, great comics, great books, people going out there doing great work that deserves applause for their craftsmanship. Stick with me, man. I got your back. We got so many cool things to celebrate, and I'm just really excited, actually, to talk about all this stuff. Like I said, for so many of them, I just need to refresh. And sometimes I'll end up like, I just come across a movie that I'm in the mood to watch. I'm like, oh, I love this movie, and I put it on, and then I'm like, oh, cool, you know what? I'll do my Saturday show on this one because this is a great one. Love this one, and I just watched it, fresh in my mind. I don't got to worry about it. So I got a little bit of research ahead of me as I settle into a better cycle of like rewatching some of these things so I can talk about them. But I'm excited today to talk about the Mythic Legions, bro. Mythic Legions is so damn cool. It's so cool because I am involved in it. And I mean, and let me tell you, like, there's no, Jesse's profiting off of making the thing or whatever. Like, I may very well in the future, possibly, I'll say, because I love this and I'm backing this. I'm saying I believe in this. I believe in these people. I want to work with them. I've worked with them already, and I've worked with them because they're so damn talented and they deserve it, and they're doing something independent, and not enough people know about this, and it's just so great. This is the Mythic Legions, which is a fantasy line of action figures. And then please hear me out here. Masters of the Universe and Lord of the Rings, this is just a means to an end for them. People are getting the most amazing fantasy world action figures you have ever seen. And now they have a line, forgetting what it's called. I'm sure the name will come up somewhere along the way. I'm going to pull up their website and give you some information about the convention that's going on this weekend, and just praise this stuff like crazy, because you were literally looking at Mythic Legions, the sculpting behind the Mythic Legions line. Eric Treadaway, who is ultimately the beachhead there, even though Eric Corboy Mays and Chris Pez, I don't want to mispronounce Chris's name. Sorry, Chris. I always kind of trip over your name. Preziosi. They are sculptors too, and they do some work amongst the team. But Eric Treadaway definitely is the point of the needle. And I believe that this man is a reincarnation of Leonardo da Vinci. He is the most incredible artist that I know of on planet Earth. The work that he is doing, the output that he has. Da Vinci sculpted people and things that you could generally see in real life. It's easy to take a little kid and put wings of a bird on it. It is another thing to bring to life every manner of anthropomorphic beast, every mythological creature imaginable, and then all sorts of creative things from the brilliant mind of Eric Treadaway and Four Horsemen Studios in general, with Chris and with other Eric Cornboy pitching it as well. They've been working together as a cohesive unit for a very long time. They're Four Horsemen because there was a fourth guy in there, but they pretty much immediately, that guy wasn't with them anymore, and the three of them have been the Four Horsemen. And I have just been a fan. They are elder statesmen of this world for me. I'm more of a comics guy, but I'm about to get into the toy world, and I've been dabbling, getting into the toy world a little bit with them in some fashions. The original thing that I was going to do with them was a project called Bag of Ninjas, and there ended up being somebody who did ninjas perfectly respectably. The Foosh, was it? They're the ones who did it? I forget who did it, but there was a toy brand, little toy brand that did ninjas, and that was what we were looking to do. And once I saw that they had done that, I was kind of like, okay, well, it's been done. I'll do my next good idea kind of thing. And I've got some cool stuff coming down the pipe. I'm actually working now with Digger Mesh, who is a very big name in the toy world and somebody who helped Four Horsemen along their way to get recognized. Digger's just always been about very, very big on the artists, sculptors of these toys getting recognized for their fucking incredible artistry, and it really is as legit as they come. So these guys, the Four Horsemen, they got their start with McFarlane. And McFarlane's not super big on making other people look awesome, but they did incredible work over there. The Total Chaos line, if you remember those action figures in the 90s, the Wet Works line, and the Mandarin Spawn, so many of the great spawns that you know and you love, they were done by Eric Treadaway. Things that were duplicates of how the comic book thing looked, and bringing that thing to life in just that right 3D way. Wow, how did they do this? I mean, those guys were the guys. McFarlane had the fucking McFarlanes of sculpting in his... These guys are no joke. And, I've talked about it before, but maybe not in a while. I'm a big toy guy. I had two fires that took the majority of my earthly possessions. And the first time around, it was my action figure collection, which was more than just a bunch of action figures in packages or whatever. None of my shit was in packages. Everything was filed away in these various long draw boxes by different groups, whether it was the Avengers or Ninja Turtles. Marvel stuff had a section, and DC stuff had a section, and Masters of the Universe had a section, and there was my box of aliens, and I had a couple dozen aliens, so I could have the Avengers fight aliens. I had just armies of, the army building. Like, I had army builded for everything that needed armies. I had every major character from every major show, comic, film, anything that I was into. I think probably, I never measured, my dick against others or whatever, but I think I probably had the largest individual collection, largest collection of individual characters in 6-inch scale, including variants and, pedestrians, garbage, and that's the other thing. It was a city. So I built a city since I was a kid. Some of them were buildings that, sort of approximately fit my 6-inch scale, look good. Other ones were custom made. I custom made this whole thing. So I'm a really big fan of not even fan, I hate that word. I'm a appreciator of the art of sculpting, and the James Gromans of the world, who made My Pet Monster and Madballs, and I know these people in indie art. I actually used to host the Designer Toy Awards. Was it in New York? Yeah, it was in New York, I think, 3 years. For 3 years, I worked with Clutter Magazine. Love designer toys, toys in general, and sculptors in general. So this is my world, and I am here to tell you, man, Four Horsemen is where it's at. The work, I just... all you have to do is go find Four Horsemen Studios on Instagram. Go find the Mythic Legion on Kickstarter or wherever. Just go type in Mythic Legion and look at the things that come up. I mean, I'll even do it right now. Let's see what happens when I just type in Mythic Legions, because what you are going to find is just a range of gorgeous 6-inch scale action figures with a fantasy motif. You'll see lots of little send-ups to Masters of the Universe. They do these little paint variants where they do send-up to Masters of the Universe, because after they left McFarlane Toys, one of the biggest projects that they became known for was working on all the Masters of the Universe toys, and that really endeared them to the audience of toy lovers, because if you're a toy lover, Masters of the Universe is one of the big entry points for a lot of people, and it was for me. But you're going to get barbarian figures and knights in shining armor, skeleton warriors, dwarves, goblins, orcs. Let's see. I told you there's some great homages. Druids, vampires. There's, female orcs, ogres, giant ogres and giant trolls, cave trolls kind of things. But they've got some really nice big things. They were talking that they're hoping that maybe there's going to be a dragon announced at the convention this weekend, like a big one, and I'm super excited about that myself. I mean, that's the coolest thing to go. My son had such a great time last year. My son Cassidy, who is less artistically inclined than my other kids, and I wasn't necessarily sure that he was gonna, be excited and like the experience and bringing him down to a toy show or whatever. On some level, it was like, I'm bringing him to my thing. I hope he likes it. He loved it. At the Mythic Legions Con, it's just filled with toy customizers and people who are making original and unique things, and people who, like my buddy Aaron, who I talk about all the time. He has a little company with his friend called Big Head Studios, and they make custom alternative heads for action figures. Like if you have a Marvel Legends figure and you don't like the head, they probably didn't like it either. And they made a better version of that head that you can buy, and then you'd have to paint it yourself or get somebody to paint it or whatever. But it'd be a great head. It'll be a great sculpt, and they have great alternative head sculpts. And sometimes they'll have like a figure that'll come out where it's like, man, if I just had an alternate head, this could be this character or that character. Like case in point, I'll see Aaron just texted me. Case in point, there's a Ursa Major action figure that they have. That's like a character from the Russian superhero team in the Marvel Universe. They made an alternate head for Grizzly, who is a Spider-Man villain who's got like a human head with like the Grizzly head on top. And their Grizzly thing is awesome. So basically, there's a whole new action figure that you can have. Grizzly, if you just get this alternate head from them and you paint it up. So really cool company, whatever. Anyway, they're there. Just like tons of other companies that have very similar things. And lots of them are independent toy companies who are, getting their new brand out there and trying to do something cool. And it's just awesome. It's magical. My son Grayson's been asking to go to a convention for a while. So I think I'm going to bring him. I'm going to see if I can end up bringing everybody. And me and Digger might like make a whole caravan over to do it this weekend. We'll see if it happens. But anyway, it's fun. I'm looking at more. There's a recent one here. This is beautiful looking. There was a gladiator figure that they made, and he's got on this great old school gladiator head and shield and this like the shoulder piece. It's like the asymmetrical looking gladiator thing. So cool. So much great stuff in here. I wish I could beam all of these pictures into your mind. But and the great thing too is just Four Horsemen Studios is brilliant with their use of color. Period. Full stop. They're so much so that I made an arrangement with them at the time when I was working on King of Kings for them to help me color design all the characters, so that they would pop off the page. And that it would, it would have that same sort of vibe of, the Incredible Hulk and that purple and green that would pop off the page of the comics. That comes from complementary colors and contrasting things. And, there's a lot of just thought that needs to be put into color in order to make it work like that. And I went after the very best people for that job as far as I was concerned, the Four Horsemen. They have shown themselves to have the ability to take one sculpture and paint it one way, and then paint it like 10 dozen other ways and still have me love it. They really are like, and not only that, have all of the different ways that they paint it be so distinguished from one another. It's really like the most incredible thing, how they can distinguish the same exact sculpt between a whole bunch of different repaints. And I mean, just over and over and over again throughout the years, they blow me away. And I mean, that in itself is an art form, to be able to reuse things in creative ways to get the most out of them. But yeah, especially for, where they are right now in like the marketplace, they're this little indie toy company, and making toys costs a lot, so, they got to be profiting to be able to go in there and repaint things and reuse things and make it like brand new. It's insane. And they really are great at that. I mean, they're great at that to the point where you're thanking them for reusing these things. Wow, look at that. Holy shit. I'm so glad that you took the time to get more out of this, because I got that out of it. That amazing color patterning. So it's really incredible. And I mean, more things, from this fantasy line of the Mythic Legions thing. You've got minotaurs and animal creatures and demons and fairy folk and elves. So many things. And then they've been doing this great thing called the Figure Obscura line. And really it's like, Mythic Legions, but it's also the Figure Obscura, and it's this space line that they have, which again, I'll get the name of the sci-fi line in a moment. They all of these things, the heads are switchable, arms are switchable, so many pieces are switchable, they're customizable. The whole fandom, this Mythic Legion Con, is people rising up to interact with these things and be more additive to this world and make things for people who are building worlds with this stuff. And it's really becoming just the coolest hobby for craftspeople, and there's wonderful work being done, awesome, exciting fun being had, and you really got to get in on it. By the end of the show, I'll give you all the information for the con. It's going on this weekend in New Jersey, and I'm going to be there and with my kid, and I'm probably getting a whole group of people to go, but I'll be there with Aaron, and I'm really excited. I hope other people will go down. But with the Figure Obscura thing, they did like a great classic Santa Claus. They did a Krampus that's amazing. Recently, they did a Sleepy Hollow Headless Horseman, which is dope. And speaking of Headless Horseman, they already had a horse. They've been making horses, and I think they made a bear last year. And like, there's a shitload of things that is coming from this company that is just incredible. I just passed an ice troll. I'm just zooming by as many of these things as I can. So I mean, just go look. Not only these are toys, but like you don't know what I'm talking about until you see them. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. They're creative. They're innovative. The paint's great. The sculpt's great. There's this cool like white albino bat demon thing, a little elf fairy looking chick there. They've done a couple other little lines over the years. There's this line of bird warriors that's quite cool, and a line of minotaur warriors that they had made years ago, but they got some new ones. The Four Horsemen, as sort of represented as characters in physical form in the Mythic Legions world as like these bad guys for the world, and they are awesome. They all have different horses that they ride. They are quite cool. My company, Blacklight District Studios, we produced a comic book for them when they were first starting out. We brought in Greg Weisman, who's a big animation guy. He created Gargoyles and is the producer behind Young Justice, was very popular. Me and Aaron love Greg, and he is just so talented. And he did a great job on the Mythic Legions book. I oversaw the project. I didn't. I try not to get involved creatively when I bring in creative people to do creative work. I want them to do the creative work. But I did help shape a couple things in terms of like how a couple things were framed. And I had a little bit of a notion about their world and about this four-sided castle that would be easy to produce because you could make four even sides that snap together. And I thought, and in this way you could actually build this and cheaply, and it could be kind of cool, it being this four-sided castle, even sides, one for each direction, and you're the Four Horsemen and four even sides and all this stuff. So with that idea, Eric Treadaway ran off and hell yeah, man. He designed this four-sided castle that was insane. And that was really my main contribution. I had this sort of notion of a lot of the universe, like kind of working around this like these four horsemen showed up on one side of the planet, and that they part ways in the four directions to meet up on the other side of the planet and destroy this castle, this central point of good. And I had seen the designs for these Four Horsemen characters, and I just wanted to like give them some sort of meaningful, like long-term setup for like what was being suggested here. That these horsemen were going to come and destroy this world, and like real heroes had to rise up and stop them before they made it all the way to the other side of the planet. And which pretty cool idea, right? I thought so. Anyway, I'm not saying pat myself. I'm saying, do you think so? Let me know. JesseBlaze@jessesnider.com. Write me anytime. I really like hearing from you guys, and I appreciate everybody who has written me. I'm sorry that I don't do the letters all the time. I just was always like fucking like juggling them and like forgetting them, and like so many of my letters are more like, hey. And then we get into like a conversation as opposed to like they wrote me a letter. You know what I'm saying? And you can do that too. You can just be like, yeah, and ask me questions or whatever. And I won't read it because it won't make any sense to read it. But thank you guys, for everybody, for writing it. Thanks for everybody supporting the show. We've been for a while now with all my podcasts breaking well over 1 million downloads every month, and generally rising. I haven't looked at the numbers in a minute. I try not to focus on it because it just can just like drive you crazy if that's the only thing you're thinking about. But looks good. So thank you guys so much. Thanks for listening, and I appreciate you telling people about the show too. And also, if anybody has a moment and you ever remember this and you think, oh, Jesse's nice and he deserves it, if you feel that way, could you make a comment on the thing? There's only so many comments on, in general, on podcasts in general. There's not a lot of podcasts. There's not a lot of places to comment. You basically have to go to iTunes to comment on the things and like rate the podcast or whatever. But in some, you can rate the podcast, I think, in most places, but the commenting one, I think, might only be on iTunes. If you want to go to iTunes and just write a nice comment about the show, be so cool, especially the All Your Favorite Bands Suck show, because we have some decent comments for Cool Geek Alive, but the All Your Favorite Bands Suck show is a little new, and Everything They Don't Want You to Know, which is my esoteric wisdom show I'm doing on Fridays, they're new. So if you're listening to those shows and you like them, like, feel free to show me some love. I'd appreciate it. Oh, and let me take a quick moment, too, to say this. Aaron Sparrow, my bestie, he has a book. It is on Kickstarter. I think it launches on Friday. It is called Kneel Before Doomface. If you go to Kickstarter right now and type in Kneel Before Doomface, it will show up. Sign up for notifications, and when it goes live, they'll let you know. There is nobody in my life who deserves your support more as a creative person than Aaron Sparrow. Please, this is such a long time coming for him. I'm so proud of him that he's finally done something for himself. He's had so many of these ideas for so long, and I've been encouraging him to do something like this for so long, and I really just want the universe to send back a big Care Bear stare to him that, he's doing the right thing with his life, and that, I don't know, God is good, and good things come back to good people. He's a good person, and he really deserves people's support. The book is a comedy. It's very funny. It's lampooning a lot of modern culture through, basically it's like Dr. Doom sort of disappears. He gets I forget exactly what happens to him right now off the top of my head. But he's not around, and he comes back into modern day, if you will, and he's sort of jarred by the culture of the more liberal progressive culture mixed with like this old world domination kind of worldview. So it's a really great juxtaposition for everything that's going on right now. It's quite funny. And Aaron in general is like the funniest person I know. He's just so great, so charming, great with the turn of phrase, and just really genuinely great at pulling out like gut-busting laughs from you. So it's such a great project from him. Kneel Before Doomface. He deserves it. You deserve it. You deserve to get your hands on his book. He is so talented, so great. Really, that's what I should be telling you. I should be telling you, this dude rules. Don't be a fool. Like, fucking find out before other people do. Like I already know. I helped out. I was an editor on the book. Not a lot of like minutia editing, because like I said, the man's great at what he does, and I wasn't trying to put my fingerprints on his book. But just in terms of, again, framing, this sort of like, maybe you want to start with this because that's so strong. And, what if this? And can you explain this better? Because I was confused here. That kind of stuff. Things that will strengthen the reading experience for other people, because that's what I want for my friend. I want my friend to really have his best face forward. And I really think with my help and plenty of other great friends of his who have just been, lovingly, I'm sure giving advice from that same place of like, I really want this to succeed for you, Aaron. Have just been making it great. And he's got some great covers. Rockeford gave him a cover. It's so beautiful. He's got a ton of awesome, great covers. There's our buddy Nate Lovett just did some covers for him that are really awesome. Nate's so talented. He did my Toy Story comics back in the day, which aren't the best like advertisement for Nate's work. Nate was rushed on all that stuff big time. So it's not really fair. Like, he wasn't able to stay on model as much as he would have liked, and he laments those books. But he's great, and he did some covers for Aaron. They're so good. Anyway, I love you for listening to me talk about my friend's book, and that I love him and that I want him to succeed. So if you care about that at all, or care about great work at all, care about karma, go find Neil before Doomface. Support Aaron Sparrow. He deserves it. I'm going to see him this weekend and give him a big fat kiss. They have a skeleton horse in this fucking Mythic Legions line that they've made. Oh, is it Space Legions? Mythic Legions. Outer Legions? Space Legions. Legions. Shit, what is the other Legions? The Four Horsemen characters. I mean, shit, man. I just wish I had a show so I could be showing you all this. The Four Horsemen characters. Poxus is one of them. He's got like these bug legs coming out of his head, and he's like this decaying corpse. Gnarly shit, man. Gnarly shit. There's just so much cool stuff in this line. I had gotten 7, I guess, maybe more, of these barbarian builder waves. They came with so many different alternative pieces, so you could make the barbarians all look slightly different by like rearranging their clothes and switching out the different horns that they had and different head options and stuff. It was just like the most fun I've ever had playing with one action figure times 7 or 8 or 9, and just styling them all slightly different. And then I just had this group of warrior monster men all in, slightly different helmet configurations and different. I think there was like 2 helmets and 2 different antlers, and some of them had antlers, some of them didn't have antlers. There's all different ways to make them different, and so fun, man. So that's the fun and I mean, literally, when it comes to Mythic Legions, you buy a toy and then you buy another toy. Now you've got the barbarian builder thing too. You start taking apart the one and you start mixing it with the other. These toys are amazing. They're a little expensive because they're being produced in smaller batches. But one day, as they start to take hold and catch on better, I think they'll be more reasonably priced. And how fucking lucky are we? Yeah, there's tons of cool skeleton army builder type people and ogre builders. I know they've got like a little swamp bog troll or whatever. It looks like a frog kind of thing. Super cool. Minotaurs. The artistry on display, when you go look at these sculpts, these Eric Treadaway sculpts, they are some of the most beautiful things you will ever see in your life. I can't even believe, it's just, it warms my heart, warms the cockles of my heart, warms the cockles of my heart that they have been going now for fucking 10 years with this Mythic Legions thing. When we did our comic book, it was a bit of a bad time for me. We didn't really get a lot of money from them because it was based all on the orders. So I had to lay out the bulk of the money to do all the stuff that we did. And then for the shipping, and let's just say it set me back big time. I'm dying to do a reprint of the book because it's already like the money's already been laid out, and and we could do some stuff. I kind of want to update it and fix a couple things because, like I said, it was a bad time for me. And I'm not a shortcut taker, but at that time in my life, there was one thing that was like a bridge too far for me, and I did like just kind of shortchange the audience a little bit because I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to do it right, and I couldn't do it myself because of this mental place that I was in. I wasn't in a good place, and and it really required a lot of focus. And my life was falling apart. I was going through a divorce, and there was a ton of things going on. So it was just it was a rough moment. I mean, the book and the quality of the book is really good. There was just some creative work on updating the bios that had been written for the characters on the packaging and just being additive to them and trying to expand that world a little bit. That I was so intimidated by Eric Treadaway's Mythic Legions world. It is intimidating. I am going to get it under control if I do creative stuff with them, as we have been in the comic and stuff like that. But there's so much depth to it, and because of the nature of how they haven't been going about creating all these action figures from a place of who would be best to create first. It has been like what would be most economical to create first, and through economical pursuits of going about it, different groups are being created at different times, and this person's less important than this person, and this group's less important than that group. And, really, if you were going to get people into this world, you'd start with a focus in one little area or whatever it is. And that's what we did when we did the comic. But in terms of those little bios for the action figures, it was a can of worms that I was so intimidated by. And I was just gonna be like, I'm just gonna be like fucking calling this guy every 2 seconds, and there's so many factions, there's so many groups. It's great because of how deep and how many different things can be made and how many fun things are in this world. But the complexities of how it all ties together was really vague in a lot of ways, and I was just not in the right state of mind. I was just kind of intimidated by it in all the wrong ways. And not like, oh, great, this is a great opportunity to do da-da-da-da-da, which is what I should have thought, but I couldn't. I was really, it was a bad moment in my existence. So I was just like holding on for dear life, going like, oh my God, this is just one more thing on top of my plate, and I can't handle this, and I don't want to do a bit job. So I would like to get that book out again. But they have been going now since then for 10 years. And each campaign has gotten bigger and bigger and more successful and more successful. And now here we are, November 9th and 10th, 2024, Legions Con in New Jersey, celebrating 25 years of Four Horsemen Studios and the 10-year anniversary of Mythic Legions. I'm so proud of these guys. I'm so happy for you guys. Congratulations. I'm going to send this over to them when I'm done. I'm going to say, hey, if you want to use this to promote the show or whatever, I gushed about the show. I'm going to send it to them. I love them so much. Shout out to you guys, Corn Boy, Eric, Jim. Love you guys so much. I'm so fucking glad that this is just still kicking ass, and I hope to see you guys this weekend because I want to come out with my babies. We had such a great time last year. It was great seeing you guys. I hope to see you again, and hopefully I'll be able to drag my buddy Digger because he loves you guys too. Legion Con 2024 is going to be something extra special with a few important anniversaries to celebrate. Join the Legions community for 2 full days of friends, fun, and tons of toys at Legions Con 2024. Book a hotel room. Advance tickets are sold out apparently, but single day access will be available at the door each day. $30 per day. Cash sales only. Event details. And I'm not going to give the highlights of this, the important stuff. Legion Con is live in-person experience. It's 2 days, same hotel they used for 2023. I was there last year. It's not huge, but there's definitely room for some more people. And trust me, I mean, like even with 1 million people, I mean, like if you heard this and you were like, oh, this sounds great, I really want to get into it, like, fucking go down. And if you have any trouble because you heard the show and you came down to Mythic Legion Con because Jesse was like, this is awesome, and would like just like reach out to me through jesseblaze@jessesnider.com, and I'll try to figure something out for you and help get you in. Okay. Because I really want people to know about this stuff and get there, and the plan. I want next year to be even bigger for them, and I want this thing to be sold out, and I want them to have to get a larger show next year, and I just want this to keep growing. This is awesome. This is so well deserved. The artistry of this studio, Four Horsemen Studios, has been there. It's been evident for so long. These comic book artists and toy sculptors, they do not get the respect that they deserve in the artistic community, and that needs to change. And it changes when people like you start attending these things in such numbers that people start going, what is this thing? Why are people so... Well, it's art, milady. Do you see? The highest level of artistry, sculpture, and paint, color. Ugh. You guys are so good. Anyway, showroom floor of exhibits will be open both days, Saturday and Sunday, November 9th through the 10th. And we have a schedule of hands-on workshops. Yeah, they do. They've got workshops, fun stuff. Learning how to paint toys and stuff like that. Fuck yeah. Presentations and experiences on both days of the event. LegionCon 2024 features 2 brand new show version figure sets for purchase. Like I said, they'll take the things that they've already made, but they'll repurpose them in a new way. The majority of the time, when they do, you're glad they did. and also, I would say they generally never speaking do anything that nobody wants. A lot of times I'll see ones that I'll be like, that's boring to me or whatever. But I will recognize almost immediately but I could see why they made that because, a plain silver armored knight is appealing to some people who just want, a a plain silver armor, or one that was plain as a base that they could then go and they could make their own marks on. So you can understand why some of them will end up being like, oh, let's just do this, but like no frills. Additionally, LegionCon 24, no. One set will be offered each day for the thing. So if you want them both, you will need to come back both days in order to get the two things. It is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. The location is the Hanover Marriott, and the address is 1401 New Jersey 10 East. And that's Whippany, New Jersey, which is spelled Whippany, New Jersey 07981. Okay, so get on down there. The tickets for the day are $30. I had such a great time. Like I said, even with my son, who's not a toy guy, he's not a fantasy guy, he's not a geek, and we just lost our mind. We stayed the whole day, had a great time, made lots of friends, and talk about that. Just what a friendly atmosphere. I was down there. I've never really spent much time buying too many customs. The customs that I had were rare, and they were given to me by friends generally. Aaron had made me a couple customs that I lost in my fire, and I was at one of the booths, and I was just kind of talking to one of the guys, and I was looking at his toys, and I just said, financially, it's just not a good moment for me to be spending my money, that I could be spending on my kids on customs. I said, but one day, man, I am going to be getting deep into customs, and he said, oh yeah, well, let's start your collection today. And I went, what do you mean? He's like, what do you want? Here, pick between this one, like, and he gave me like a little airy six, like, any of these guys you can have. And I said, no way, really? And I got an awesome Mythic Legions. It's custom that he made it, and I left the price tag on it because it touched me so much, $65 or $55 or whatever it was. But he just went, because he had heard about my fire or whatever other thing. But like it was just such a sweet moment. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't fishing for give me a toy for free, man. Like I was literally admiring the custom toys he was making, going, this is great stuff. I'm so glad more people are doing this. I'm so glad more artists like yourself are, putting a paintbrush to some of these toys and making things like this. And this is great. And this makes me so happy. And he went, I'm gonna make you even happier. And what the fuck? That is what happens when you go to a convention run by toy lovers, okay? Let me tell you, I've talked about this before, and maybe this should be, where we close out this show. Playing with toys, playing with action figures, playing with little idols that are representative of people, it teaches you empathy, because you have to think, how does this person, this little being, this representation of a being, how does it react to things? If you have two toys and they bump into each other and you're trying to act on their behalf, you're trying to play out a scenario, your mind has to think empathetically. You have to think, how does he feel when this happens? How does she feel when that happens? How do they feel when that happens? They are going to feel a certain way. I promise you. Everybody feels ways about things as things happen. Everybody's constantly going through their life and they're reacting one way or another to various things. And in storytelling, that's like the main thrust of it, figuring out where the conflict's coming from, and what is, how would this person interact with this person? It's the interesting thing when like the Avengers come together, all these different types of characters who star in their own individual stories as heroes. Now they come together into one book where they're all sharing the screen together. And when they interact, what is different about them is what's most on display, so that we can enjoy their interactions the most by sort of saying something about each one of them every time by this one reacts like this one reacts like this. All those differences make it really, everything. That's what makes it so exciting and so cool when these things cross over. The difference is the contrast. These differences are created when you start playing with your hand, or Adam Sandler picks up a shampoo bottle and a conditioner in a bathtub and is like, I like shampoo, I like conditioner. But there's a certain amount of anthropomorphizing where now there is an empathetic creature, a creature that has feelings about things. So my thesis here is toy makers and toy collectors and players, we are a really loving and empathetic lot. And this Mythic Legions toy line is the beginning of a Masters of the Universe line, the likes of which is we've never seen. Any number of things. It's the beginning of creativity through sculpture. It's the beginning of creativity in community, being able to interact with each other in interesting ways and building worlds. The Mythic Legions line is really open-ended in a lot of ways so that people can put all their own shit on it and they can freaking just customize and make unique universes for themselves. Who is this and who's that and what's that and what's that? Like, it's so unique. I want to go into the Mythic Legions dungeon of every Mythic Legion toy collector on planet Earth so I can see the unique configurations that they personally have set up. I'm sure some of them suck, but I bet a lot of them are awesome. They took this head and that shoulder pad and this gun and that knife and now I got this dude. Like, dude, I was doing that for ages with the Masters of the Universe, and it was super fun and easy to do it there in a lot of ways. There was only so many things that could be removed or whatever compared to the Mythic Legions line, which is like double as many options, if not quadruple as many options in terms of customization possibilities. But it was there, and I would do it with the Masters of the Universe all the time, and they sculpted most of those things, and incredible. And I talked about like bringing to life animated cells and bringing to life styles that artists have done and stuff. I mean, it's just really, really incredible what these guys have been able to do as a studio, working for the biggest companies making toys, and working for themselves now. And I'm so proud of them. Like I said, if you're more of a sci-fi guy, they've got a space line that's pretty cool. That one's a little bit in its infancy, but again, it links over with the fantasy line. You could start taking the fantasy characters and mixing them with the technology characters and start making new Masters of the Universe guys. It's really it's insane. It's next level. This is just the hope that I had for my hobby of collecting toys my whole life. I hoped that I would be able to just be creative with my toys and create characters out of thin air. And I mean, just so fun, man. And the sculpting's already done, and you got great heads to choose from, bins filled with heads and filled with alternative armors and alternative weapons. And there's so many options and so many things. If you ever wanted to get into toys, but it seemed like a kid's hobby, dude, the time has passed for that shit, man. It has matured, and there's an audience that has matured with it, like myself, and it's amazing. I just can't wait to see storytelling coming out of this world and more things and see what the fandom develops into. And I can't wait to see you at the Mythic Legion Comic-Con, convention, the Legion Con, this Saturday and Sunday in New Jersey. I'm going to be there with my family and my friends celebrating the great artistry of Four Horsemen Studios, 25 years of it, and congratulating them on 10 years of Mythic Legion's success. I can't even fucking believe it. I'm just so proud for them and happy for them, and just this is so amazing. It's so amazing for independent artists. It's amazing for independence. It's amazing for small businesses. It's amazing on so many levels what these guys are currently proving to everybody you can do with some fucking talent. And boy, do Four Horsemen Studios got that. I don't know what I'm doing my Saturday show on this weekend yet, but I'll figure it out, and probably some sort of classic or pick as per usual, movie or TV. I just haven't gotten that far in my week, but I love you guys so much. I thank you for listening, and I hope you'll join me again on Saturday and again next Wednesday for another fucking awesome episode of The Coolest Geek Alive. I love you guys. Care Bear Stare. See you at Legion's Con. You've been listening to Coolest Geek Alive with me, your host, Jesse Blaze Snider. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more excellent geek culture content. Thanks for listening.
It's my favorite part! Isn't that heavy? I played that! It's gonna be fucking awesome! Coolest alive! It's gonna be fucking awesome. Stay with your tribe. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Revenge of the Geeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Week after weeks. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Laughing with you. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And crying sometimes too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Spelling it out. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Making you shout. I'm a genius. I got lyrics coming out me bum for days. You like that? It's a kazoo solo. I played that too. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Talking some shit. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Living legit. My voice is fucking awesome. Food in our mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Get in the mouth. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Tell all your friends. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Call right on text. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Raising the bar. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Straight to the stars. It's gonna be fucking awesome. It's starting soon. Straight to the top. Awesome. Passing the moon. It's gonna be fucking awesome. On with the show. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Ready, set, go.
It's going to be fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Just wait. You'll see. You'll all see.
The podcast playground. Hooray!